There's only one person who's going to restore law and order to our streets, and that's Donald Trump. Kamala Harris wants to let the criminals out of jail on cash-free bail. Donald Trump says we're going to prosecute the gangbangers and the hoodlums and the thugs that are in this country. So first, let's close our border. Let's give you more economic security and prosperity, and let's make a safer country for everybody.
If you don't know who this bigot is, meet fired Trump 2016 campaign manager and advisor Corey Lewandowski, a career lobbyist, Republican operative, and conservative media pundit who is still shamelessly loyal to Donald Trump.
I mean, it's 2024. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election? Can you answer that?
The American people have passed the 2020 election. They're focused on an election which is just under 5 weeks away. And what J.D. Vance laid out last night is a very different vision than what Tim Walz and Kamala Harris want to say. So, look, we can go back and relitigate the 2020 election, or we can look at what we can do to make America better for everyday Americans who are struggling under Bidenomics.
Yeah, it's not relitigating. It's just a simple question. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election? I mean, that's an easy
Jim, why are we talking about 2020 anymore? Does the American people care about the 2020 election anymore?
After J.D. Vance refused to admit that Trump lost the 2020 election live on the debate stage with Tim Walz, Lewandowski tried to play cleanup for the Trump campaign and weaseled his way out of directly answering the exact same way Vance, Trump, and everyone else in MAGA world does.
Do you trust the process this time around?
Did I what?
Do you trust the process this time around?
I'll let you know in about 33 days. No, look, I'm in 33 days.
The media is obsessed with talking about the election of 4 years ago. I'm focused on the election of 33 days from now because I want to throw Kamala Harris out of office and get back to common sense economic policies. If you believe in American democracy, if you believe in our constitutional republic, you should be trying to strengthen American election integrity and not weaken it. So we're going to talk about election integrity because I believe that every vote ought to count, but only the legally cast votes, and that's why we fight for election integrity, and that's why we care so much about it.
At a campaign rally the day after the debate, Vance again refused to answer one of the easiest questions he'll ever be asked, and surprisingly was actually cut off by Fox News producers before he could say anything else that could put them in the crosshairs, if you will, of another election conspiracy theory. But the repeated non-answer is perhaps even more of an indictment than flat out admitting what they really want to say while signaling to the base that they have not abandoned that lie just yet.
We need to make sure they don't cheat.
I think that what he's saying is that we want to pursue a set of policies in the Republican Party that make it easier for every legal ballot to be cast and counted, but make it harder for illegally cast ballots to be counted. Now, we can disagree about how many of those there are, whether there are a few hundred, a few thousand, maybe more.
Do you have faith the 2024 election will be free and fair?
I do, Kristen. I do think it's going to be free and fair, and we're going to do everything that we can to make sure that happens. We're going to pursue every pathway to make sure, again, legal ballots get counted.
By the way, to all of you listening out there, I believe that we are going to have the safest and most secure election in 2024 that we've had because the RNC is fighting for election integrity in a way that it frankly wasn't 4 years ago.
The RNC needs to be the leanest, most lethal political fighting machine we've ever seen in American history. That is the goal over the next 9.5 months. If everyone gets out and votes early and then makes a plan to get other people out to the polls, we make it too big to rig, we swamp the vote, and Donald Trump becomes the 47th president. That's the goal, and that's what we've done. But we've been very successful in a lot of our pursuits. A lot more to do because we know on the other side they're always going to try and have a little nefarious activity. But we're looking out for it, and we're sending a message loud and clear. If you cheat in an election, we'll find you. We'll prosecute you to the full extent of the law.
The question is, why is MAGA still clinging to the 2020 election conspiracies all these years later? Well, it's obvious that their ongoing call for election integrity is just a farce. This is not about safeguarding our elections. It's a smokescreen to control the narrative and chip away at our democracy. When they push for election integrity, what they really mean is let's make sure our side wins by any means necessary.
But folks, you have to fundamentally understand the truth. If you cannot, in 2024, answer that question, you are unfit for office. It doesn't matter what else you did for 90 or 89 minutes. That last minute, you cannot answer that question because the guy who's watching that you're performing for will kick your behind when you get off that stage tells me and should tell the country you are unfit for office.
You know, this debate was telling, but does it even matter? Real question. The media coverage around these debates often has, well, more of an impact than the debates themselves. It showed us exactly where the two campaigns stand. One continues to play to the base and feed the 2020 election lie. The other tries to offer a semblance of stability. But do these debates change minds anymore? Maybe not. Could Tim Walz have pushed harder? Yes. But at this point, the question is whether these debates really matter in shaping our future, or are they just another spectacle in this political theater?